I'd like to actually ask the members of Parliament that are present on the panel what part of democracy they don't actually understand. All right, well, Parliament had a ballot, did it not, in order to have the referendum? They voted 6-1 to have the ballot. You took that ballot, you took the chance, we had the referendum, you didn't get the answer that you wanted, and now you want to turn it round.
The BBC debate was your standard political theater, until one man calmly stepped up and shattered the whole charade like a teacup at a punk concert. Angela Rayner, armed with rehearsed lines and smug confidence, didn't see it coming. No shouting, no theatrics, just one brutally calm question that left her blinking as if someone had hit the off switch mid-sentence. What did he ask? Why did Rayner freeze? And is Labour still scrambling to recover from the moment? Stick around, this one's wild.
Which of your party's U-turns are you most proud of? The ditching of the 28 billion climate investment plan, keeping the cruel two-child benefit cap, or one of the others?
What I'm not proud of is that we've had 14 years of the Tories and the crashing of the economy. But what I am realistic about is we've got to have a programme for government which is credible, that can grow our economy so we can invest in our green prosperity plan and so that we can eradicate poverty. And I know Labour can do it because we've done it before.
The scene was set. Polished stage, overly rehearsed lines, a mix of hairspray, desperation, and recycled promises. The BBC debate felt less like national discourse and more like a reality show reunion, minus the wine throwing, at least for now. The audience, a blend of curiosity, boredom, and itchy thumbs ready to tweet outrage, watched as the spectacle unfolded. It wasn't question time, it was Britain's version of excuse hour. Smash that like button and subscribe, because you don't want to miss what happened next.
The effects of the Birmingham bin strike have been declared a major incident. There are national embarrassments, and with 21-degree temperatures forecast later this week, will become a public health emergency. With Labour MPs in Birmingham busy campaigning for an airport in Pakistan, and the Secretary of State unwilling to visit the city or take on the Union Unite, is that because of the tens of millions of pounds her party receives from Unite, or indeed the £10,000 she's received for her own election campaign?
All right, let me ask you about another element of this. On the present densities, you're going to add 3.4 million, or homes for 3.4 million people with your 1.5 million houses. On your own figures, we're also going to add to our population 2.5 million people over this same period. Are you content that more than 5 out of 7 new homes will go to immigrants?
Angela Rayner stepped into the spotlight like it was her big moment, exuding confidence wrapped in that PR-polished glow only a career politician can master. Buzzwords? Locked and loaded. Script memorized? Absolutely. Vision? Maybe, maybe not. Her smile was half comforting, half daring. Go on, I dare you to ask something I didn't rehearse on the ride over. You could almost hear her internal playlist, dramatic, upbeat, and totally disconnected from the chaos waiting just beyond the stage lights.
I'll give way.
Deputy Prime Minister for giving way. By my calculation, Madam Deputy Speaker, if the government is going to build 1.5 million homes over the course of this Parliament, given that we're 9 months into the first year of this Parliament, the government should have built 225,000 by now. Can she confirm how many have been built?
Secretary of State. Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, I think he's just an example of what the mess the previous government left us in. We've been consulting, we've been working with industry, we've had a new homes accelerator, 1,000 more put into the system.
Every inch of her body language screamed, "I've got this." Her gaze swept the audience with rehearsed ease, nods polished enough to come with a showroom shine. Rayner was deep in autopilot mode, ready to jab at the Tories, drop a few relatable working-class lines, and cruise through the night fueled by espresso and sound bites. This was supposed to be her highlight reel, not a reality check waiting to happen.
The immigration thing, what was it? 700 migrants have arrived in 11 boats. Angela Rayner yesterday announced, or today, she's abandoned plans to give Brits council house priority. Brits who pay their taxes and work. I thought they were going to get no, you're not getting priority anymore. I'm sorry, that's not happening. No, we're going to give them to migrants. And then even worse, Labour's decided to drop a plan to ban terrorists from social housing. Now, call me mad, right? How the hell does anybody listen to those two things and think that's anything other than bloody disgraceful?
Behind her, the panel looked like a miscast lineup from a tired political play, each waiting to recite speeches we've all heard since 2019, with the impact of a damp sponge. You could almost see Rayner side-eyeing them, silently warning her backup dancers not to steal the spotlight. The audience, a carefully arranged sea of polite applause and manufactured concern, hung in that unsettling stillness that comes just before someone flips the table. Angela probably thought she was stepping into a cozy bubble of scripted praise. She couldn't have been more wrong.
Angela Rayner doesn't have a unique thought to herself because Lewis Goodall, who's the one who's interviewing her, before that, the start of that clip, actually says, "Do you think, Angela, that you're the victim of misogyny and classism?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I am, actually." She doesn't have original thought in her brain, quite frankly, Angela Rayner. So she's just gone, "Yeah, well, I'm going to..."
But what Angela didn't know was that tucked quietly in the crowd was a man immune to spin, unimpressed by posturing, and completely uninterested in political theater. No cue cards, no filters, no time for charades. The storm was coming. And then, bang, it hit. He stood. No shouting, no dramatic finger-pointing, just calm, precise intent. He looked like he might ask where the toilets were, but instead, with the chill of a Netflix assassin and the timing of a master conductor, he dropped the line. "Why should we believe you now, when you've already failed to deliver before?" Silence followed. Not the performative kind where someone reaches for a water bottle, but the real, spine-chilling kind. Rayner blinked once, then again, as if a loading bar had appeared above her head reading processing. No one batted an eye.
Government, can I have a ballot?
Can I answer your question? I mean, what I was saying, and my clarity is that I'm not saying, and I'm not suggesting we ignore the vote. The vote is quite clear. But as a member of Parliament, I have a responsibility for British jobs, British workers.
You have a representative. You have.
So you can't say that we're going to safeguard that.
She tried to answer. Really, she did. But all that came out was a scrambled playlist of Labour's greatest hits. Economic justice here. A vague nod to community values there, all wrapped in the shiny foil of optimism meant to distract from the lack of substance. The audience wasn't buying it. You could see it in their eyes, the same look people get when a magician's amazing trick is revealed as mere sleight of hand. Rayner floundered, patching holes that couldn't be patched. The calm challenger had pierced the illusion, and now the room was shifting. Other audience members began speaking, not angrily, but with clarity, questions, and accountability. This wasn't a Labour pep rally anymore, it was a reckoning. Angela, once the confident frontrunner, was now on the defensive. She reached for her usual scapegoats, the Tories' austerity, even the ghost of Gordon Brown, but each recycled line cooled the room further. People were done clapping for slogans written over lukewarm tea and unread policy drafts.
Your job is to represent the public, the people who elect you. Start doing your job. If you don't like it, clear off. Simple.
Rayner froze when asked to name just one company backing Labour's employment bills. 1. Simple. Question. Instead, she launched into a polished monologue about affordability, sustainability, and ambitious targets. The same targets that get moved so often they might as well be in witness protection. By now, she wasn't just on the defensive. She was in free fall. Watching her cling to buzzwords was like seeing someone try to play chess with Connect 4 rules. The moderator stepped in, not to save her, just to move things along, but you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. This was a televised airing of Labour's empty promises, brought on not by a rival politician, but by a calm, unflappable man who probably just came for the free water. And online? It went nuclear. Clips were circulating before she even left the studio. Twitter crowned her Angela Rattled Rayner. Fans dubbed her voice with cartoon squeaks. Filters made her look like a stunned goldfish. This wasn't just a bad night. It was one for the political blooper reel.
Economic activity at risk. I'm just saying, do you think you would have a rethink on it?
Well, I think that there was an imbalance, and we spoke to many businesses. They've been working with us to get the Employment Rights Bill forward.
Can you name a company, a few of them, that welcome these proposals?
Well, we've worked with many of the companies. I've worked with so many of them on this. I've had many roundtables, as the business secretary, and they very much welcomed the work that we've been doing on making sure that people...
You must be able to name a few, because I can name all the companies, the recruitment companies, Hayes, Manpower, Randstad. They've signed the letter saying this is the wrong approach. You're going to put jobs at risk. Which are the companies that have welcomed your employment rights?
Well,
Even the Facebook boomers were getting spicy in the comments, but the real gut punch came from Labour's own ranks. Loyal supporters who once cheered for Rayner like they were front row at Glastonbury started raising eyebrows, not out of hatred, but because they could smell the panic. When your own voters ask if you've read your own manifesto recently, that's when you know things are bleak. This wasn't just a one-off flop. It became a metaphor for performative politics. The public's fed up. They don't want sound bites, they want substance, a real plan, a spine. Rayner, once Labour's fiery voice of the people, suddenly looked like she was reciting lines from a menu she didn't write. And here's the kicker. The man who asked that brutal question wasn't an opposition plant. He was a lifelong Labour voter. He didn't want to humiliate her, he wanted answers. That's what stung the most. Rayner didn't just flub a question. She failed to convince someone who was already on her side.
I was incredibly disappointed to see the contents of that WhatsApp group. I think it was disgusting, some of what was said in that group, and I'm genuinely shocked by it. It's not what I recognise from the councillors that I interact with, because obviously I'm neighbouring MP and Tameside is my borough as well. And for me, we've got to have standards in public life. People put a lot of trust in us.
Imagine playing for your home team and missing the goal so badly your own fans start questioning if your eyes are working. That's exactly what Angela Rayner looked like after the debate. In post-show interviews, her gaze had that hollow, I already know tomorrow's headlines glaze. The kind you wear when the damage is done and you're bracing for spin. And spin, Labour did. PR fluff, carefully cropped infographics, a dash of Tory blaming, classic moves. But the crack was already there. The illusion had been punctured. Next time Rayner walks into a room, it won't be applause waiting. It'll be loaded questions and receipts. People aren't wide-eyed anymore. They're watching, measuring, remembering. And if one calm man with one honest question rattled her so deeply, just wait until she faces a room full of voters who've spent 5 years watching promises vanish like steam off a podium. Political theater only works until the crowd figures out the trick, and once they do, the applause never comes as easily.